The Sean O'Malley thing got a lot of people talking, because Sean liked to run around front and Sean liked to act like he Taylor Swift and the boxers are just indie artists, that he's so much more popular than they are. That's what he liked to do. Because I seen him do that more than once. It wasn't with just Conor Ben. He's done that with other boxers too. I can recall. And he probably does that because he's under the impression that mixed martial arts is more popular than boxing, which it's literally not. He's under the impression that mixed martial arts is a bigger sport, which it isn't. And, I think the strongest case for him to maybe be of that belief is his social media following, because on social media, he does have a lot of followers. But I've said before that social media metrics are deceptive. You can't gauge marquee value off of having a bunch of followers on Instagram, because if that mattered that much, every Ryan Garcia pay per view would do over a million. Since he has over a million followers, well over a million on Instagram, and he's on Kick, he's on these different streams, he's with these different influencers. Social media by itself is not a reliable metric to gauge marquee value. Ryan, for example, has been on pay per view 4 times, but only one of those pay per views ever did strong numbers. The others underwhelmed, whether it's the Devin Haney pay per view, the Rolly Romero pay per view, or the more recent Mario Barrios pay per view that I don't think sold that much. Social media is not a good gauge for marquee value because everything on social media is free. It doesn't cost anything for somebody to follow you. So when you're gauging value, money, customers, that's not a good gauge. The reason I say that is because of Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley has a lot of Instagram followers. He's got millions of Instagram followers, and he has lots of followers on Twitter. But all those platforms are free. You can't gauge value off of free shit. Nobody's paying to follow you. How many people are paying to see you? That's what matters. How many tickets? How many pay-per-views? That's what matters. So when you get up there in front, like you fucking the big man on campus, and Connor is a dude that, oh, who he? I never heard of him. Brody, he probably never heard of you. What you think? They over there in Britain talking about the Sean O'Malley fight? Motherfucker. Like really? What you think? They in fucking Mexico talking about Sean O'Malley? They in Latin America talking about Sean O'Malley? Australia? They out there? What, Japan? That's why the shit. That's why you gotta check that shit. That homeboy. It's not just you don't make what boxers make. It's not that you're literally not as popular as boxers. But I said it that Dana White did a good job of convincing people, mostly Americans, that somehow MMA usurped boxing as the premier combat sport. And I think that that argument was easier to make 10, 12 years ago. Yeah, when Ronda was popular and Conor was popping, it was a wave. Yeah, it was a thing. But they have since plateaued. That doesn't mean that they've nosedived. That means that their popularity is not growing the same way that it was. Whereas with boxing, believe it or not, it has become more popular. With the advent of social media boxers that kept the sport in the public consciousness, for better or worse, whether you like the circus or not, it is contributing to the profile of boxing. When Netflix decided we want to get into live sport, particularly combat sports, where did they go? They went to boxing. And now what are they doing? More boxing. So when you talk about which sport is more popular, it's really not close. The bulk of MMA's popularity, chunk of it, is here in the United States. Yeah, a chunk of it. A lot of the people that really, really, really watch UFC, because when we say MMA, we're really not talking about the PFL. And Bellator went under a long time ago. So when we talk about that, we ain't talking about all that other shit. We talking about UFC. Well, yeah, UFC is popular in America, but that shit ain't rocking like. Is that shit rocking in Latin America? You think in Mexico they worried about the UFC? You know, like when you really look around, you know. So it's not hard to understand. It's really not hard. Boxing is the bigger sport. Bigger, better. And they're you know, because I did a video on it. I did a video talking about it. That boxing is the bigger sport, but not only that, Conor Ben is more popular than Sean O'Malley. And some people they didn't really agree with that. But I'm telling you that if more people are paying to see Conor, even if all those people are Brits, if more people are paying to see Conor, that is marquee value. Marquee value is not social media followers because that's free. Those people are not paying to follow you. Marquee value is how many pay per views do you sell? How many tickets do you sell? What kind of purses do you get? This is what constitutes marquee value. And in that regard, yeah, Connor's got more marquee value than he does. I've always felt that that's a big part of the reason that MMA fighters are somewhat resentful towards boxers. They believe that their sport is harder and they believe that their sport is better, but they're not making what the boxers make. What it do don't want? They're not making what the boxers make. And that is because of its infrastructure. It is. You know that yeah, if you're a UFC fighter, your contract is structured a certain way and you don't have the same autonomy as a boxer. But I always argue this that if not for the UFC, you wouldn't even be making that. You wouldn't even be making the bit that you are making because UFC popularized your sport more than any other fighting federation. So, yeah, the infrastructure doesn't allow you the same autonomy as a boxer, but you still have to be thankful that you have that because before that, there wasn't a place for guys like you, guys who want to fight, but they don't have the chops to make it as boxers, you know? It's not hard to understand. You know, but yeah, boxing is the more popular sport. There's so many ways to gauge boxing's popularity over mixed martial arts. Now that's not to say that mixed martial arts or the UFC specifically is not profitable because it is. It is a profitable business. They've cornered the market on that kind of fighting and they're making very good money. They're always in the plus, but that's also because they don't really have any competition. It's easier to make money when who are you competing with? Who? Boxing is a lot bigger, but also more fragmented. One guy doesn't control it all. Even with Turkey, for example, and his entry into the sport, you still have the Latin American market. You still have the Australian market. You still have the Asian market. You have all these other different pockets around the world that are also in boxing that it's so big, it's so fragmented that yeah, you know, one promoter can't dominate it all. What it do, Slum? What it do, B Wayne? Would you pay to watch Sean O'Malley? The UFC fanboys don't know how much Ben made in the Eubank rematch. Yeah, you know? What I was told was he's an undercard fighter. That was the other shit they told me, that he's an undercard dude. I'm like, well, listen, you're not gonna convince me that an undercard dude is more popular than a dude who main events his own shows at stadiums, a fucking stadium. If Dana White could fill out a stadium with Sean O'Malley, believe me, he would. The reason he doesn't is because he can't, because that dude is not that popular. You know, that dude, like, you're not that popular. You know, I don't want to get into the which sport is better. Brody, I don't watch that shit. I don't care what you think will happen in a street fight, because we not street fighters. It's not about street fighting, okay? We're talking about a sport, right? Yeah, boxing is a bigger sport than mixed martial arts by a lot. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. It's an older sport. It's been around longer. Of course, it's going to be more popular. It's been around longer. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean MMA is bad. That doesn't mean UFC is bad. That doesn't mean none of that. But if you're talking about which sport is bigger, yeah, boxing is bigger by a lot, you know? So, he was up there popping his shit because them dudes, it is what Eddie Hearn said at the end of the day. Them dudes over there gonna find out what Dana's giving Connor and they gonna be livid. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, but it is what it is. You signed a contract. You can be mad as you want to be. You signed a contract. Being a UFC fighter, your contract is structured a certain way. If you don't like it, okay, then don't fight MMA. Try boxing. And you know what's gonna happen if you try boxing. I'm just saying. Because if you could box, you would box. If you could. You're not telling me that you rolling around the floor and you getting kicked and you getting knees and all this shit is happening because you could box. You do that because you can't box. It's the only way for you to fight and make money. But if you could box, you would be doing that. You know why? Because you'd make more money. Motherfuckers will sit there and say, "Oh yeah, boxing is simple. It's only one form of fighting." Okay, then you do it. If it's simple, if it's easy, you do it because you'd be making more if you could. The question is, can Dana fill a stadium with Connor going forward? Not so sure. Good point. I ain't going to front. That's a good point, bro. That is a very good point that acquiring that fighter comes at the expense of public support. And I question, how much do the Brits that are laying into him now and calling him a traitor, a Benedict Arnold, how much do they mean that shit? Because if you saying all that shit just to watch his next fight or go to his next fight, then it don't matter. He's still got marquee value. Now, if you're gonna boycott him, okay, then I understand. But if y'all not gonna boycott him and y'all just gonna watch him anyway, yeah, I mean, and then it didn't hurt him at all. It didn't hurt him at all, you know. Now you got Floyd and Manny. The nostalgia goggles about to be on in full effect with Floyd and Manny. I'm not mad at it, bro. As a content creator, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make money off that, so I'm not mad at that shit at all. But that's how you know Floyd is broke. I know Jason Whitlock did a video about it, and that's what's in the thumbnail. Floyd is broke. I've been saying that. Motherfuckers get mad when I said it. Like, yeah, that dude broke. You're not out here scheduling exhibitions like that because you got money. You doing that because you broke. Shout out to my man Killer B. If Chisora beats Wilder, does he have better wins than Tua? Is he the best heavyweight to never win a title? I would say so. Killer B. He's got some good wins, Derek Chisora. Good wins, you know. What he beat? He beat Joe Joyce. He beat Joe Joyce. He beat Otto Wallin. If he beats Wilder, that's a former champion right there. Yeah, I mean, you could say that. You could say that. I think you could say that. I like villain Connor. We need more boxing villains. I mean, we'll see, but you could see that it's affecting him, bro. Not sorry. You could see that it's affecting him because I saw his Sky Sports interview, and you could tell that the stuff that people saying and the way that he looked to people now, you could see it on him that yeah, it's bothering you. I don't know that he could be that villain that he could be like, yo, fuck y'all. I did what the fuck I needed to do. Y'all could suck my dick. I don't know that he could be that guy. I don't know that. Cause he looked a little bit dejected, like because he's under attack, you know. He beat Joseph Parker. He should have beat Joseph Parker. That first fight was a robbery. Yeah, I heard that shit. I gotta read through it. What specifically? Because I saw the story, but I don't know what specifically he's suing for. So the next episode of the relay is gonna be about that. I'm gonna get into it and I'm gonna give my thoughts because I don't know right now what specifically Frank is suing for. We see that Richardson Hitchens, he definitely about to drop that red belt now. He is definitely gonna drop that shit now. Cause they ordered him to fight Polo's man, Lindolfo Delgado. And I don't think he's gonna stick around to be fighting no Delgados. To fight the Delgados of the world, no. He's gonna drop that belt Maybe it'll be Delgado versus Duarte for it, which that would be a good fight, by the way. Maybe it'll be those two guys that fight for it. But Hitchens is done at 140, bro. And the shit for him is that belt is all you had. The only thing of value you had was that belt. If you don't have that belt and you go to welter, the only thing you're gonna get is ignored. They're gonna ignore you. What they doing to Gaiasov, they gonna do that shit to you. Cause who the fuck are you? What the fuck do you have that we should? Why should I do a camp for Richardson Hitchens? Shout out to Not Sorry. He should embrace the hate. It's not going away. I also think he should train in America. Well, he just announced who his new trainer is going to be because he's not with Tony Sims anymore. So it wasn't just a knife in Eddie's back. It's a knife in Tony Sims's back too, because Tony been with your ass from the beginning. Been with your ass. So I mean, I hope it was worth it, man. But I said it in a video I did yesterday, and I'll say it here again. A lot of the people that left Matchroom under less than amicable circumstances, thinking that the grass was greener on the other side, they found out it wasn't. That was just lighting. Joshua Buatsi left Matchroom to do what? Okoli left Matchroom to do what? To win a Bridgerweight title? That's what you did? You won a Bridgerweight title? Chantel Cameron left Matchroom, and for a whole year, it was like the ground swallowed her up. You didn't hear nothing about her. A lot of the people that left Matchroom, you stopped hearing about them, you know? Yeah, I did a video on that the other day, bro. I've been said they going to ESPN. I literally said that. I seen the text messages. Like, I've been said that. I've been saying that for like really, I mentioned it the last 2-3 weeks, but I first told y'all about the rumor here on the channel months ago that Top Rank is still that ESPN is still interested in doing boxing, but under a different structure. They don't want it to be the way that it was before. They don't want exclusivity. They likely want to kick out a smaller licensing fee. They don't want to be on the hook for 90 million like before. But I've been said that. That's why I didn't get rid of my ESPN Plus, because I figured if you don't have UFC anymore, which they don't, what do you have for your combat sports catalog? You don't got boxing, you don't got UFC, and you just gonna stay that way? Yeah, I don't think so. You know. So that's good news. That's good news. If they're gonna stay in boxing, that's good news. You get boxing on ESPN, boxing on Paramount, boxing on DAZN. You could argue that you get in boxing on Amazon, but for how long? You know, for how long? He feels Turkey betrayed him. Yeah, but what specifically constitutes the lawsuit? You know what I mean? What specifically? What arrangement that they have that would warrant a lawsuit? What business was y'all gonna do? And what is it that he did that breaches that trust? You know, I don't know because I haven't read it yet, but I saw it when I was at the gym. I saw the notification. Yeah, that's what I was told. That's what I was told. Inside job. Former ESPN executives accused of sabotaging time. Yeah, I know. And then they went to CBS. It was two guys. It's two different guys. A good source told me about them dudes a while ago, which is a part of why ESPN wants to get back in. They looking at it like, yo, that's crazy. Y'all sabotaged that deal for them, and then y'all left to a different network to be executives over there. You know, the shit looked crazy. Apparently, let me see. Apparently, it said he would run Zuffa through. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And Turkey would give Queensbury the Zuffa budget. Oh, wow. If he got it on, you know that Frank got a good record of lawsuits, right? Frank don't lose no lawsuit now. Frank don't lose in court. A lot of motherfuckers don't know that. That's an underreported statistic. Frank Warren's record in the courts It's pretty fucking good. According to Frank, Sella was exclusive to Queensbury. I don't know about that. Sella been handing out money to everybody. They've been using everybody fighters, so I don't know about that. Damn. So, listen, I really want to take my time with that because my mind is already going like, yo, Frank, you sure you're not bugging out? Are you sure you're not bugging out? Straw that broke the camel's back was probably them getting Fury. Didn't Frank get shot in? I don't know about shot in the head. He ain't get shot in the head, but I know he got shot. According to, that's fucking crazy, bro. Yeah, I definitely want to read through that lawsuit. So we got Navarrete Nunez this weekend, and I'll say it again that's how Matchroom can compete with Zuffa. I looked at the whole Zuffa roster, all those different names they posted yesterday. And yeah, it's good. You know, you got some fighters, you can start doing fights. It's good. You got some fighters. But you don't yet have the ability to make a Callum Smith versus David Morrell, a Navarrete versus Nunez. You don't have that ability. You don't have the ability to make a what's the other fight? Carlos Adames versus Ammo Williams. So the way that Matchroom can compete and make it competitive is through familiarity and consistency. Shout out to Stella. I wonder if Zuffa would succeed because the Saudis have injected a lot of cash in other sports like golf and soccer, and those failed. That's a very good point, bro. That is, it's not enough to just throw money at shit. It's not enough to just do that. And that's why in the other live, when I was telling y'all, know how, having know how is something that is an advantage for Eddie. It's an advantage for Top Rank, for Frank, that you can have money, but all you can do with that money is buy up the talent that other people built. Do you know how to develop talent yourself? No, Dana White don't know how to do that. Not in boxing. He never did it before. Turkey don't know how to do that. He never did it before. So you could sign Connor. You could sign Jai. You could sign guys that other people built, but without know-how to develop new fighters. That's only gonna work, but for so long. In the first 2 years, y'all looking pretty. Y'all sitting pretty. Y'all signing fighters left and right. Motherfuckers want to go over there. But do you know how to develop elite level fighters? Shout out to not sorry. If AJ comes back, who do you think the comeback fight should be against? Personally, I would like to see Felipe Pergovic get knocked out. Mean shit, man. They was talking about putting him in there with that kickboxer. Ugh. They was talking about putting him in there with Rico Verhoeven. And given that it may be many months from his last fight, because think about it. Do we even count that Jake Paul shit as a fight? Do we count that shit as a fight? If we talking about a fight, your last fight was Daniel, and that was over a year ago. If we talking about a fight, do we count Jake Paul and knocking him out in 5 rounds as a fight? I don't know. I can only see Zuffa leading to more fragmentation unless they somehow get everybody on board, in my opinion. I like the waves they create in Zerg. I like that motherfuckers is worried, that motherfuckers feel under pressure because now they got to work harder. We reap the benefit of that. The matchmaking has to be better. That you got to worry about them now. You got to worry about Zuffa. You competing with Zuffa. So the matchmaking, it has to be better. The fights, you have to make them accessible. You can't keep hiding everything behind a pay-per-view because Zuffa's not doing pay-per-view. You are. And that's not helping you. That's hurting you. I seen it, bro. Let me pull that bitch up. Matter of fact, let me pull that shit up. Pull that shit up right now. Went to the motherfucking gym. Worked. I think I was in there for 2 hours, bro. Motherfucker hard. Pull that shit up right now. It's not a lot of familiar names on there. When you look at them guys, it's not a lot of familiar names on there. The most familiar guys they got is Andy Ruiz, Jayo Pataya, Jahi Tucker, Connor Ben, Sergey Boachuk, Callum Walsh, right? Like they don't got a lot of familiar guys yet. I do like how there's been good knockouts on the Zuffa shows, but that's what people. Yeah. You know that I'm not against Zuffa. I'm not against them creating waves and creating instability for their competition. I say it all the time. A competitive market for us is a good market because then everybody has to work harder. The content has to be better. The matchmaking has to be more ambitious. So I'm not against them coming in and deregulating shit. Yeah, they signed Andrew Tabiti, but he fucking sucks. That dude sucks, bro. That dude has always sucked. He was trying to be a cruiserweight Floyd Mayweather. Nobody want to see that shit. Also watched an interview saying Ben was offered a long contract with Zuffa, which Eddie was going to match, but Ben rejected both. I saw that yesterday. Look, man, the shit with Ben, it's not taking the money. I can't stress that. It's not about him taking a better deal. It's about being a slime ball. That's what it's about. It's not about taking a better deal. Everybody is looking a better deal. Everybody. It's that the way you did it, it was foul. Like, yeah, that's fucked up. Them folk looked out for you. Nobody would be offering you 15 mil, right? Nobody would be offering you that if not for their promotion. I think Hergovic is trash. AJ, yeah, he trash, but you know, he is an Olympian and all that shit, right? Bronze medalist, I believe. Damn, that Olympic cycle was ass. Hergovic got the bronze. I think Joe got the silver and Yoka got the gold. That cycle was trash. Oh my God. That whole cycle was trash. Estelle Mosley was in that cycle. She won a gold medal. She trash. Carlos Ocampo. I mean, like Carlos is a guy you get to get so somebody will fuck him up. You know what I mean? That's a guy that you sign if you need a punching bag. Same Olympics. Yep, same Olympics. Ben getting cooked by everyone here in the UK, especially with the fact he wasn't really liked. He gained some respect with the Eubank fights, but he's thrown that. Yeah. That's why I did that video the other day. Was it worth it? All the value in signing Conor Ben is on the predication that he's worth money in the UK. But the way y'all signed him, is he still worth money in the UK? Is he? Because he doesn't have their support. Not right now. My question is the people that's saying all this stuff, when he fights, because he's supposed to make his debut in May, when he fights, is y'all going to boycott it? Because if y'all going to watch it anyway, then it ain't about shit. If y'all going to watch it anyway, then it ain't about shit. You know? Jules, how do you think these signings affect the gatekeeper pool for traditional promos for their tuna for their up and comers? Because that looks like a lot of B-side guys that are now tied up. I don't think you're ever gonna run a shortage of guys that are willing to get their ass beat for some money. It does look like they signed a lot of the a lot of the opponents, because that's what a lot of those guys are. Those are professional opponents. But I don't think there's going to be a scarcity of opponents. I don't think you're always going to find a guy that's willing to fight. What it do, Tyree? You know? They did sign a lot of opponents, you know what I mean? Like a lot of what this is, if you really look at it, a lot of what this is opponents. You talking about Ocampo, Butayev, Charles Martin. Those are opponents, homie. Brandon Glanton. That's an opponent. It's an opponent, you know? So you got some guys, you can make some fights, you know what I mean? You can make some fights. But Matchroom and the other promoters, they need to be ambitious now, because what you got on them is brand trust. You got brand trust. They might have signed one or two big names, but you got brand trust. You got more where that came from. And you got to get busy. You got to get busy. As far as Connor, yeah, I wonder what's going to happen with that. Was it worth it? I wonder what's going to happen with that. Because the UK is a tightly knit spot. It's nowhere near as big as the United States. So a lot of people are looking at him doing that as a betrayal. Oh, well, that's not a surprise. That Usyk just signed a that's not a surprise. I kind of figured he was gonna go over there. Where else is he gonna go? Let me see. Let me look on Twitter, because I saw something that said that he signed to Zuffa, and it's like the other thing is, Usyk is a great signing for Zuffa. Don't get me wrong; it's a good signing. Or it's a high profile signing, but you still talking about a 38-year-old fighter, bro. You talking about a 38-year-old fighter. He ain't got a whole lot of years to give the sport of boxing. I don't think. How long he gonna keep fighting? 38-year-old fighter, bro. 38, 39, around there. Opponents that the boxing fans may know now, the boxeo needs a new lot of opponents people will get to know. Usyk at the tail end of his career signing a Zuffa doesn't seem, yeah, it doesn't seem big to me either. Is it a high profile signing? Yeah, but the guy's in his late 30s, bro. He already did all the cool shit that Usyk was gonna do, right? All the cool shit, going undisputed, fighting AJ, fighting Dubois, fighting Fury. Yeah, he did a lot of that shit already. What you gonna do with him now? He did all that shit already. All the cool shit. Yeah, they did that already. I mean, those would be, shout out to Wayne. Those are the kind of signings that they need. Guys that are not done yet, guys that have years to give to the sport of boxing. Those are the kind of signings that they need now that they're just getting started. Because you could sign Fury. What's Fury? 37? What is he? 37, 38? Usyk 39, damn near 40. You ain't going. I mean, like, you ain't gonna get a lot of mileage out of them guys, man. They already got a lot of mileage on them. You need young guys. See, signings that Zuffa should look at: Gary Antoine Russell, Brandon Figueroa, Angelo Leo. Well, I mean, it might be too late to get Angelo. Laura, even, well, not really. Christian Mabili, Oslis Iglesias. You need young guys, and you need guys that got belts. And you're going to say, well, I thought Zuffa didn't want to deal with the belts. Brody, you kind of have to, because you're not going to qualify the Zuffa belt all by yourself. You need solid fighters to give that belt to make it legit. Because if you just give it to a guy, that shit ain't going to mean nothing. That shit is not going to mean nothing. I guess they signed Usyk to legitimize their Zuffa belt at heavyweight, but who cares when all the better heavyweight contenders are not signed to Zuffa? Exactly. Exactly. What's going to happen now, fellas? There's going to be more exclusivity contracts. Now that they know that Zuffa's looking to poach their top talent, now that they know they doing that on purpose, the deals are probably going to get longer. Where before, 3-fight deal is a standard deal, they probably going to be like, yo, we want you for 7 fights now. Yeah, because Zuffa trying to steal all the fighters away. Zuffa trying to steal all the fighters. So I expect that there's going to be more exclusivity deals. People are going to be a lot more careful with their talent. Watch, bro, watch. Because think about what happened to Eddie Hearn, right? Eddie said it himself. That's my fault. I could have got Conor to sign. I probably could have got Conor to sign a deal. Yeah, you didn't because you thought shit was sweet. So now you gonna see guys that right around the time they know that a deal is ending, they're gonna negotiate a new deal. They're not gonna wait. Like, yeah, we want you to go from this deal to this deal straight like that, so that they don't float away. That could be a bad thing, though. Exclusivity deals is not, it inhibits how much autonomy you have, whether or not you could cross the street, stuff like that. But because they know that Zuffa out here stealing fighters, that's what they gonna do. So your standard 3-fight deal, a lot of them contracts gonna start to look like Golden Boy contracts. They gonna start to look like Golden Boy. You see how motherfuckers be with Golden Boy for like a decade? Motherfucker be with Golden Boy for like 3-4 different presidents. Virgil been over there forever. Ryan been over there forever. Rocha been over there forever. A Golden Boy contract? Brody, that's like a 7-fight contract with all sorts of different asterisks and shit. I think they're gonna get phased out, bro. Honestly, I don't see in their current form how they can sustain. There's no money coming in. You don't have a backer. All you could do is rent out fighters to people that do have money, but you don't have no money. So I think they're gonna get phased out, bro. I see one thing about Frank. One thing about Frank Warren. Listen, he not Eddie, bro. Frank is a gangster. One thing about Frank, you're not gonna catch Frank with his pants down. No, you not. No, you not. That's one thing about Frank. And for whatever reason, a lot of Frank's guys are really loyal to him. A lot of them, like I noticed that. He got Fabio, he got Daniel, he got Agit, he got Zhang, he got Parker, he got all type of shit. But it looked like they took his crown jewel, though. If they took Fury, that was the crown jewel. But Fury was 37 years old anyway. What they're trying to do now is get Fury, get AJ, and cut Matchroom and Queensberry out the picture. They want to do that fight. And that's going to be interesting because they can put up more money for that fight than Matchroom and Queensberry. They can put up more money for that fight than they can. If they go out, you know what I'm saying? Shit is going to get bad. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. I'll be right back. That's the shit. Yuli, that's the shit. He do like to sue, but he usually wins. He does win. I said it earlier that Frank's track record in the court, you don't want to fuck with him. The byproduct of all the poaching is the contracts are gonna get lengthier, and there's gonna be more stipulations in those contracts. If you eat a gyro at 3 in the afternoon, that adds another fight to your contract. If you watch the whole first season of Dawson's Creek on Netflix, that adds another 3 fights to your contract. If you watched Law and Order, if you watch the original season of Law and Order, that adds 2 fights to your contract. That's what the shit gonna look like. Watch. They gonna have all type of bells and whistles in the contracts now. That's true boxing, Sicario. That after that shit happened, they wanted to make sure that their talent doesn't float away because what's going on now is they know that Zuffa is going after big names. They going after fighters that the other promoters already built. And I said this 2 nights ago that that's a good strategy in the short term. In the short term, yeah, that's good. While you got the money to blow to bring over big name fighters. But in the long term, at some point, it becomes about know-how. It becomes about your own ability to groom a prospect into a world-class fighter. And that is where I think Zuffa has a weakness because Dana never done that before with no boxer, and Turkey never done that before with no boxer. What it do, MW2? Exactly, Rapper Hannock. They're gonna be like, if you go to the titty bar the second Sunday of the month, that adds a fight to your contract. You know what I'm saying? If you watched at least 2 Mia Khalifa movies on Pornhub, and that adds 3 fights to your contract. That shit can't go on forever, Rohan. You know what I mean? That shit they doing, that shit can't go on forever, bro. But it would seem that Turkey was the Trojan horse, right? You got cool with everybody. You did fights with everybody, right? You worked with everybody. PBC, Golden Boy, Queensbury, Topper. You did fights with everybody, and it's like you were evaluating their strength. Like, okay, so these motherfuckers' TV deal about to be up. These motherfuckers' TV deal about to be up. These motherfuckers is good, but they trust motherfuckers too much. Shout out to Sicario. The fact they gave Turkey access to all that is insane. I work in litigation and shit like that. Turkey seems to have double, triple. Yeah, that he was the Trojan horse, bro. He worked with everybody, and it looked like in doing so, he evaluated their strength. Like a Super Saiyan. You know that little visor that Vegeta wear when he first got the Namek and shit? Checking everybody power level, yo. He checking everybody power level. Looked like that's what he was doing. Because after you don't work with all these people, the first thing you did was go get a guy that's not in boxing. Think about that. You work with Eddie, you work with Frank, Golden Boy, Louis DeCubas, Bob to a lesser extent. You work with everybody. And the first thing you did was run out and get the MMA guy. You got the MMA guy. Why would you do that? It's enough people in boxing you could have gave that job. You ran out and got the MMA guy. What it could have been is that Turkey saw the wasteful spending. Because one thing that really does separate Dana from a lot of people in boxing, not necessarily Eddie and Frank, because they run a good business, those two, but a lot of the other guys, it's really just a lot of wasteful spending, you know? If you look at Golden Boy, if you look at PBC, top ranked to a lesser extent, to a much lesser extent than those two, there's a lot of wasteful spending going on. If there's a reason that Turkey would have went to Dana, like, yo, I want you to regulate, I want you to run this shit, it's because Dana has shown the ability to create a soluble business that generates capital. That when you do a show, you're not always in the red, you know? That's one thing you got to give the UFC. Now, granted that there are nuances to that conversation, that a big part of the reason that shit is like that is they don't have nobody to compete with. Anybody that want to watch MMA is primarily watching UFC, so you cornered that market. You see my name? Let me see where my name at. Let me see where my name at. I see your name. Congrats on being signed to Zuffa. Julian Gomez. Motherfucker, my name is not Julian. Julian is the motherfucker that drinks Poland Spring. Yeah, I'm smoking. Julian is the motherfucker that drinks Earl Grey. We're going to the boxing match. See the fighters. I am Julian. We're going to go to Big Ben to see the fight. We are going. You know? But I like that. I like that it's happening. Because boxing would be boring right now if all that shit wasn't going on. If all that shit wasn't going on, motherfuckers wouldn't be nervous. Motherfuckers would be laxed, making the same old fights, doing the same old shit. You can't say that boxing wasn't getting boring, bro. You can't say it wasn't. It was getting boring. Now that Dana coming in here, scaring everybody and shit. That too, Mr. Tibbs. Definitely that. But that still speaks to what I'm saying, that Dana has shown the ability to create capital when he's the one in charge. And while there are nuances to that, that's why I think he went to him. That, and he's not a boxing guy, that by now, you know, Turkey being in boxing for the last 2 years, he's seen how these guys move. He's seen that, like, yo, all y'all want me to do is pull out my wallet and overpay y'all fighters. That's all y'all see. But that does not create a sustainable business. That's not because I'm willing to overpay Bevor or overpay Better Beef, overpay this guy, overpay that guy. Yeah, that's cool for them that they got to make some money, but that does not create a sustainable business. And one thing about boxing, especially in America, and I've been saying it, that shit is not sustainable. You can't do event after event after event that doesn't create no capital. Motherfucker call him the purse czar. I mean, that's not a bad. You're not far off. Not far off. But that's why you would do that. If you spent the last 2 years working in boxing, with everybody in boxing, and then the next thing you do is get an MMA guy, that tells me you saw something that you didn't like. That's what that tells me. First fucking thing he did was run out and get the MMA guy. He's been working with all these boxing people for 2 years. He's been working with all these boxing people. It must have been something he saw that he didn't like. They're like, "Oh, y'all just think it's Christmas and I'm always supposed to pay above market value. This doesn't fix boxing." And he would be right. He would be right. See, in the UK, the costs of a show are justified because people do buy tickets. But if you looked at America, you got a lot of promoters that are really doing shows and they in the red and they don't care. The reason they don't care, they getting a network budget anyway. They don't give a fuck. If the fucking show flop, they don't care because, well, I'm gonna get 90 million from fucking ESPN anyway. I'm gonna get 40, 50 from Showtime anyway. So they don't give a fuck. Golden Boy, I'm getting whatever I'm getting on the zone anyway, so I don't give a fuck. I think a big part of the reason he decided, yo, I'm gonna get Dana is because he's not a boxing guy and his business is soluble. It's worth money. Whereas a lot of the boxing people, the last 10 years, they was asleep at the wheel because they like, I got an exclusivity deal. If the show make money, the show don't make money. I get a budget either way. It's no sweat off my back. And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Turkey was spending all that money. Jose, what it do?
What's good, man?
Ain't shit, yo. Motherfucking Turkey and Dana got everybody nervous, bro. Everybody shitting bricks.
I mean, hey, man, gotta adapt. I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you guys.
Adapt or die, bro. It be like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's
But
why,
I
like,
ain't.
no,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
Oh,
no, go ahead.
uh, I'm just gonna say, like, I don't get why people hate on Dana. Like, the fact that people are saying, like, oh, he's being cheap. He don't want to pay these fighters. I'm like, bro, he's just being realistic. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Like, this is how much you're worth. This is how much you draw. If you don't like it, okay, go someplace else. Like, I don't know what the
And
fuck to tell you.
yeah, and the other shit is that what they never look at is whether you watch MMA or not. I always tip my hat off to him for this because I don't even watch MMA. I literally don't watch that shit. I just want to have sex with Gina Carano. That's it. Um, it's worth money, bro. It generates money. It's worth money. And even if popularity of, because it's plateaued, like, yeah, it's not as popular and it's not growing at the same rate that it was 10, 12 years ago. It's not. But even without that, it's still worth money. Yeah, it's still worth money. It generates money and it's worth money. And you got to give him that. Whereas Golden Boy is operating in the red, bro. You do an Alexis Rocha fight, you ain't making no money off of that. Y'all used to do Blair Cobb's fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Fucking, fucking, you've had Virgil for like 30 years and he's still not really a draw. And that dude been with y'all. A big part of the reason it's like that is if you know that the zone is going to give me X at every year to do shows, you're not going to make shows with the same urgency, with the same desire for the shows to be successful because you're telling yourself, well, I got a 5-year deal. I got a 6-year deal. I'm going to get this regardless. So I don't need it. I don't live and die off of the show's success. And that is a problem that you got to be more ambitious, bro. That's why the matchmaking is always lukewarm, bro. It's always room temperature because they like, well, what we going to do that for? We got a deal. We do X amount of fights a year. We get X amount of money. We don't need to be gambling our stars, you know, shit like that.
exactly. Why am I gonna break the bank for Alexis Rocha? You know what I mean?
And that fucking bullshit about the fighters, yo, I said the fighters get paid too much. One thing that I'm always gonna give Dana, yeah, you gotta crack the fucking whip, bro. If you let the fighters have it their way, they will fucking bankrupt you, bro, and then
Hmm.
leave. They'll bankrupt you and then leave. And somehow, in these idiots' minds, that's a good thing. Well, because the fighters, you gotta worry about the fighters, bro. The fighters. Oh,
They
fuck
got
about that.
families, man.
You gotta feel like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. We ain't gonna have nothing to watch if this shit continues. We ain't gonna have nothing to watch.
I'm
We gotta
I'm
keep
glad you brought that up because I was just going like on this I was going like on Google doing a little bit of research. Apparently, with Duran fought Leonard, he his purse was like 1.5 million. A couple years later, he fights Iron Man Barkley. You know how much his purse was?
How much?
300,000. Like, come on,
Wow.
you couldn't pay these fighters that kind of money. They'll be bitching and moaning.
Yeah. They
Eh,
wouldn't do nothing. You do have to adjust it for inflation. You do, you know. But generally, I think the fighters want too much, and like it's by a lot that Devin, who's I think the most obvious example, that dude is not worth nowhere near what the fuck they paying him, and anything involving him, it's like you creating an imbalance because if you're saying that I'm not going to fight unless I get this amount of money, but you're not actually worth that money, you don't generate it at the box office, you don't generate it at the gate, It's like what? So the only way we could do a Devin Haney show is if we lose money, basically. The only way to get you to do anything is if we lose money. Well, that's not sustainable, bro. It's not.
Mhm. Yeah, he's the clearest example. I'm just like, bro, you are not worth. How much was he getting paid for those turkey fights? Like 10 mil
Bro,
or something like that?
I would put it in that neighborhood. I would put it in that neighborhood. And what are we really talking about? A Jose Ramirez fight. Brody, commercially, the operational costs, well, let's just focus on purses. You shouldn't be spending more on Haney versus Ramirez than $2 million the most.
That wasn't even a title fight, was it?
Nah, it was a regular fight. It was a tune-up because he had just, he got his ass beat by Ryan. You should, bro, think about that. Think about it. Is that really a $3, $4, $5 million fight? Hell the fuck no.
At most, like maybe 1.5 million, and that's when you got split it between the both of you guys.
Then you look at the Brian Norman fight. Okay, that one had a title on the line. Both guys are undefeated. But if you really honest about the commercial value of that fight, bro, that fight ain't more than a $3 million fight.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't. It ain't. Like, Brian ain't no ticket seller. He's even less of a ticket seller than Devin. So
that's why I was glad when Eddie kind of put his foot down when he says like, "Yo, Bill, I'm just gonna make the fight with who's the dude that has the IBF right there?
Crocker.
With Crocker. He's like, I'll put up the money, but the money you're asking, I ain't breaking the bank for that.
Fuck that shit. And they call that hating. That basically I gotta go broke because if I gotta go broke or I'm hating. I'm a hater. I'm hating because I don't want to let you bankrupt me.
Yeah, I'm
Fuck
sure Eddie's like,
here.
bro, you're gonna scam me. I ain't letting that shit happen.
For real. What you think about it, Nigel? Go ahead, country.
The logical logic, man. The logical logic.
It's just greed, country. It's just greed. It's not even. It's just greed, bro. It is because you could tell them that, but they don't. They're not going to care, And look, realistically, you don't expect them to, but that's why they can't be the ones that have control because they won't do the job unless they bankrupt the fucking company. That is not sustainable. It's not sustainable to give Shakur Stevenson 10 mil and whatever you get and whatever you gave Tio, like, bro, that fight is not even that big. It's not that big. I don't think the operational costs for that fight should be, I don't think the purses and what it costs to do it should be anywhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20. No, that is Brody, that is an $8 million fight at best. And I mean 8 for y'all got to split 8. You and Tio. It's not bigger than that. If you kicking out more than that in terms of purses, I know you're not going to make no money because not that many. How long ago was the fight, fellas? How long ago was the fight? 2 weeks?
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago.
And we ain't heard Bo Diddley in terms of a number. 2 weeks. Now, you know undefeated because you worked in China.
Yes, sir.
If the number was big, they would have said it by now. You think if the pay-per-view would have did 500,000 bars or 600,000 bars, they wouldn't have said something? Yeah, they would have said something. The reason we ain't heard nothing yet is because that shit did not do that. Shit did not do nothing like that. I'll be surprised if that shit did 250. I would be surprised. These guys getting paid way too much. Way too much. And that's why I think the first thing Turkey did after 2 years of working with all these different promoters in boxing is he ran out and got the cheap guy. The cheap guy, because what do they know Dana for? Yeah, he cheap. He don't be want to give them fighters over there all that money. Like, no. So it's a couple of guys under Zuffa, a couple, not a lot, that are going to make decent money. Conor Ben, obviously. Jayo Pataya. Usyk. Maybe Fury if they sign him. But the rest of these motherfuckers, they gonna control that shit. Yeah, they gonna control that shit. You got Brian Norman, who was offered close to $2 million. Now I want to unify. That's not enough. You got a lot of fucking nerve, homie. You got a lot of fucking nerve. And that bullshit, because what people don't account for is time. Time is what they don't account for. That you understand that in all those moments where he didn't fight Boots, you lost time and you don't get that back. The sport is suffering in that time because there's a good fight in the welterweight division that isn't being made. And in that time, people are growing less interested in this sport because it takes too fucking long to do anything. You got all these guys, they're holding out for the lottery. Everybody can't win the lottery, bro. Everybody could play, but everybody can't win, you know? So
They all
that's
they all want a Canelo sized payday, and it's just not going to happen, man.
it's not going to happen. They think all of them is supposed to end up on pay-per-view when pay-per-view was never designed for every fighter. It was only for the specific guys, really only for the Canelos of the world. The rest of y'all motherfuckers, bro, we shouldn't have to pay nothing extra to see y'all motherfuckers. You got David Benavidez and Zerto Ramirez, $75. That's crazy.
You know
That's
what's
Yeah.
crazy? That's on the same day as I guess apparently Inoue and Nakatani. I'm guaranteed that's just gonna generate more.
No, I ain't gonna lie. That my dick is gonna be hard most of that day because the Yanui Nakatani, that's gonna be early in the morning. So we're gonna have a full day of boxing. My question is, and I hope that Turkey don't have nothing to do with that, or that they don't bill it as a pay-per-view, because then that's 2 pay-per-views in one day, fellas. That's crazy.
Yo, what the fuck?
That's crazy. Think about it. They made us pay. Turkey made us pay for Picasso. For Picasso.
How much was that card worth? How much?
$50. That one was $50.
Damn.
But still, the shit is, we shouldn't be paying to see bantamweights and super. When the fuck has that ever, bro? When the fuck did Americans start paying pay-per-view for super bantamweights? What? And in the morning. That was in the morning, bro. Now, Top Rank, Bob Arum gave us Fulton for nothing. For nothing. Tapales for nothing. Neary for nothing. But you
MJ
telling me
Facebook Live
for nothing. That's what that needs to go back to. But you telling me because he fought Pablo Picasso, oh, $50. Yo. Yo. Shout out to Drew. It's war. We need the Ring IQ Legalese breakdown of the. Yeah, I can't wait to sink my teeth into that shit. I've been waiting to get home from the gym so I could get into that shit. Shout out to Don Juan. If Zuffa gets Usyk, they should make Usyk versus Jai. I'll take it. But I'll be honest, as much as I like Usyk, I can't look at that signing and say that that's a great signing, because you have a fighter who's fought in all his big fights already. He did it. He did it all already. There's not a bigger fight that he can have now than the ones he already had.
Yeah, that's true.
I love the God Country. I think he's an amazing fighter, a generational talent. But you signing him at what, 38, and he already had all of his big fights, I don't really look at that as a good signing. That's a high profile signing, definitely high profile, but good. How much mileage are you going to get out of this guy? How much mileage are you going to get out of him?
That's purely for optics. Simple as that. It's for optics.
But it's
Getting the big names for it.
But it's expensive. Those are expensive optics, Nigel. They are, because what are you going to have to pay him to get him?
True, but Turkey's got the deep pockets, and that Opataya fight is appealing. May not be to everyone's taste, but it is appealing.
No, it is. I mean, it's a sexy fucking fight. It absolutely is. Nigel, you're in Britain. You're a Brit. What's your opinion of Conor? Don't fuck around. Don't beat around the bush. Give it to me straight.
Okay, it's just blatant fucking treachery. It's a goddamn shame that he couldn't find the balls, the dignity, the integrity to sit down with Eddie, who stuck by you for 10 years, who basically signed you as a favor to his famous dad, and this is how you treated him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So during the whole fiasco, he got you fights in the US when you were banned in the UK. right? He got you
Yep.
money in your pocket, right? You're
Yep.
on the verge of getting a title shot. WBC mandated you as #1 contender. This is how you treat him. Gutless. It's shameless. And I'll tell you something now. Brits probably will tune in just to see you get your ass beat. But in that way, you're kind of winning in a way because it's like, well, you're tuning in. You know
That's
what
what
I'm
I
saying?
thought,
So,
Nigel. That I don't doubt, because I lived in Britain for 20 years in Essex. And I don't as closely, I'm bullshitting, right? Like you guys are literally gonna let me get away with that. You're gonna let me get away with that.
I was getting something out. I'm getting some halloumi out the fridge. Sorry, mate. I was going to let that one slide. You good, mate? Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. Things in Britain are tightly knit. Believe it or not, like they're tightly knit because England is not a big country. Like that's not it's not a big area. So for you to do that, and they saw, yo, this dude is going to the wire for Conor, bro. He didn't have to get him none of them fights in America. He didn't have to keep revisiting the Chris Eubank fight. That shit was dead in the water, bro. They didn't have to keep revisiting that. Everywhere you are right now is because of Matchroom. And
Exactly that. Yeah.
you cannot convince me of otherwise. When you fought that kickboxer, I never forgot because I was like, I said it that day. Yeah, this kid ain't it. When he fought that kickboxer, Cedric Paynow, the first fight, like yo, this kid ain't it, bro. It's not working. And to his credit, he came back better. Now I think it was the Peds. I'm like, there's Conor Benn before the Paynout rematch and Conor Benn after the Paynout rematch.
Yes,
he came back a different guy. He came back a different guy.
Complete 180. And the thing is, as well, let me just say this: it's like in the UK, as I'm sure all the panelists are aware, we take our boxing and our sports seriously. We're one of the other nations that treat it as a sport, not like a novelty show where, I hate to say it, sometimes my American cousins do. We take it seriously. You earn your stripes here. And for 10 years, you couldn't say, sorry, Eddie, man, let's go match it. I got to go. You know what I mean? It's like that I could understand. And I know it's a business. And I know that he was a free agent at the time. But you owed that man that.
Yeah.
As a straight up dude, you could have just said,
Lawrence did it. Lawrence did it. And Lawrence wasn't even tight with Eddie. When Boxer offered Lawrence all that shit, he came to Eddie like, yo, look, they got this for me, yo. If y'all could match it, I'll fuck with you. But if you're not gonna match, I'm out of here,
Yeah, let me just touch on something. I remember after a certain fight, I can't remember who it was, right? Lawrence Okoli said to Eddie, look, man, I really want if I win this fight, you're gonna get me this really expensive watch. I can't remember if it was a Rolex or something. It was a real expensive timepiece. After the fight, Eddie presented him with said watch, and they were all smiles and hugging and pally. Then for Lawrence to turn around and I'll never forget, he put that meme up as with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's talking about slavery or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And he took it down straight away. So again, it's like it's like what Abraham Lincoln said. It's like give a man power and it reveals his true character. You give this man this money, it reveals your character. And clearly, Conor has no character.
No. Yeah. I mean, where would he have developed it? You know what I mean? Conor, and I'm not, look, I don't expect anyone, let alone boxers. I don't expect anyone to be a good person. I think good people are honestly such a rarity. You should expect most people you come across to be scumbags. So it's not being a scumbag. It's that you were a coward about it.
Yes.
That's what you were a coward about. That what does it take? How hard is it for you to say, Eddie, they just offered me 15 mil. I love you, bro, but they just offered me 15 mil. What we gonna do? And the other thing is, I'm gonna say this because I am that kind of guy. I'm like this. I'm gonna weigh whether or not that 15 mil is worth our friendship. Because that 15 mil is for one fight. I could lose that fight. I'm fucked up after that. Who got my back then?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
Hey,
one more
shout out
thing as
to.
well. I'm sorry, just
Let
one
me
more
read
thing.
this. Let me read this.
Go ahead.
Go
Go,
ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. All right, let me
No,
read the
read
super
it.
chat. Jules, how did Warren not know TKO and Saudi were already in business before Zuffa and doing deals with both separately wouldn't be noticed? You got to wonder how much of that shit Frank actually sat in for, bro. Frank thought it was all good. Let's be honest, Drew. None of us saw Turkey LL Sheik bringing Dana into it. Nobody forecasted that. The 2 years that he's been in boxing, I was blindsided by that shit. Like, the fuck does he want with Dana? Shout out to Drew again. Say GARRAG garage. In the garage, he stole from the real. Go ahead, Nigel.
All right, yeah. Basically, what I was saying was, it's like, it's just they get us. Like I said, we could talk about the whole business side of things, but you can't. There's a man has to have integrity. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's a prerequisite as a man in this world. You need to have that. You need to be able to stand on your, have a code, if you will. Clearly, Connor doesn't have that, and it just disappoints me. And what another thing, he had the UK in his hands. He could have been almost in the same stratosphere as AJ after that Eubank win. You had it, and you threw it all away. Ridiculous.
Ryan, shout out to Ryan McCrae. Ryan said it that don't let the accent fool you. Connor's not necessarily a Brit. He was raised in Spain, and for a period he was also in Australia. So maybe he doesn't have those same values that a lot of the British boxing public might have, which is why he moves like that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know he was raised in Spain. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was raised in Spain as a young kid. And the thing is, it's like, your dad is like a world famous, now Hall of Fame millionaire boxer. With regards to hardships, there's nothing compared to what me and you and the common man would go through. You know what I mean? So, with regards
Right.
to having these values instilled in you, because make no mistake, Nigel was no angel. You know what I'm saying? Now he is.
No, he wasn't. He
Right?
wasn't.
No, he was not. No. So, I mean, you can raise that question as well. You know?
I would say that for a guy, you look at the dollar amount and you say, well, look, that's a lot of money for one fight. And Connor is just behaving the way that a prize fighter would. But I don't see $15 million as a dollar amount that he couldn't have made at Matchroom. Maybe you could have made that over 2 fights, but you could have got 15 mil at Matchroom. It takes a little longer, but they would have had your back. And that's the difference. If you fuck up at Zuffa, you fucked up. You're just the guy who fucked up. You was at Matchroom. They showed you could fuck up. We got your back. You could dye your hair blonde. We got your back. You could take the hair from your ass, laser it on your face because you can't grow a beard. We got your back.
He could have made White Hart Lane, that 70+ thousand stadium, his home venue. He could have. The potential was there for that, and you fucked it up. And then another thing, Chris Eubank Jr., man, you need to shut the hell up, because there's the thing. For all your criticisms of Eddie Hearn, you still came back to the table for the rematch, didn't you? You still took that money. So
I've been
miss me with
saying
that
that
shit.
the whole that I couldn't, because I saw how who was it, Duke was, he was talking shit about Connor's win. Simon Jordan was talking shit about Connor's win, and all I kept thinking is, why are we supposed to feel sorry for Chris?
Yeah,
You signed up for this twice. Really, you signed up for this 3 times. 2 years ago,
Yeah,
you signed up for it. You signed up after he pops hot. He
yeah,
gets caught with a pad. You still signed up for it.
yeah.
You won. You don't gotta fight him again. You won. Fight him again. Like, bro, why are we supposed to feel sorry for Chris? This what you
Yeah.
wanted. You talking about they the scumbags, motherfucker? If you was gonna stand on principle, why are you fighting a ped cheat? If it's about all that, you just
And,
as bad, bro.
let's not forget, man. Frank Morris said at the press conference for the first one, when he was offered, you were offered Hamza Shiraz. What did you do? What did you do? Yeah, you
Exactly. Like,
lost.
yo, remember, he got offered Canelo. He got
Yeah,
offered Hamza for a few million. You
yeah,
turned all of that down. So why the fuck you acting like, oh, they want me to fight Conor? You acting like they made you do that shit. Bro, you wanted to do that shit.
Oh my
Because
God.
he little. Because he was little. You could, if it's about all that, yo, then go fight Hamza. You know what's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen. You know, Chris is a piece of work. Chris is a piece
Yeah, I
because I
don't.
don't get it. Go ahead, undefeated. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not in the UK, so I don't know the full details of what's going on over there. Personally, I like Eddie. I think he's good for boxing. But when it comes to Eubank, I'm like, why are you always talking shit to Eddie? Like, what did he do to you, bro? I
Nothing.
mean, like,
If you're
damn, bro.
honest,
Yeah,
the only real reason I could think that Eubank might have an axe to grind with Eddie, because there's not a good reason. There's not a great reason for him to have an axe to grind with Eddie. I think it's because of what happened with Golovkin. See, after he pulled the bitch shit, he was a pariah for a while, Chris Eubank Jr. And you know, that was a show that Matchroom was going to promote. They were going to promote that show. I'm like, why is he mad at Eddie? Is it because of what happened with the Golovkin shit? Is it that? Because y'all didn't really do a lot of business. If you think about it, like, nah, he was with Wasserman for a while. He's been around, but he was not one of Eddie's boys. Like, nah, not really. When he fought, who promoted the Billy Joe Saunders fight, Nigel? Who promoted that fight? Wasn't that Frank? Nigel fell asleep. The point is, the only thing I could think of that Chris might have against Eddie is you went through a dark period when he was working with you, but that's still your fault. You ducked.
Right.
You let a
That ain't got nothing to do with Eddie at all.
yeah, like if you want to act like a bitch and let a welterweight stand in your place, that ain't Eddie's fault. That's your fault. Cause you was supposed to fight, motherfucker. Other than that, I don't really know what beef. What beef do you have with Eddie? What, that he wanted to make the Conor Ben fight, bro? So did you. So did you. That's why you took it. You can't get mad at him for a fight that you accepted. If it's that bad, you could have said no. I'm not fighting him. So, you know, he's a piece of work, man. Chris is a piece of work. And I can't wait to see him get fucked up at 168 because that's where he's going. You know? Can't wait to see
yeah,
him get fucked up.
I feel bad for Eddie because he seems like he's a straight up guy. Like, just hey, it is what it is. I'm not gonna fuck you over. I especially felt bad when it came out that he lent money to Connor when he was
Yep.
down. Like, the thing was to say 100 euros or whatever they call it over there. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, this dude stuck his neck out for you through all the steroid shit. He lent you money. Man, you ain't shit, bro.
He ain't shit, bro. He ain't shit. Cause that he don't got they tried to, people tried to minimize it saying that it was a business decision, but I'm like, no, it wasn't because Connor wasn't worth big money yet. When all of that stuff with the steroids or whatever it was, when all that stuff with the peds was going on, Connor wasn't worth big money yet. He's not worth big money until he has the Eubank fights. Then, okay, then he's worth big money. So he was looking out for you because, like, somebody jumped on and they wanted to hear us that they're getting on the bus.
The
Right.
microwave.
The fuck?
Sorry, that was my microwave. Sorry.
Yeah, I knew it was a
Sorry,
microwave.
Getting on the bus. They getting on the bus. You know what I'm saying?
You're,
Like,
you're
you know what
supposed
I'm
to
saying?
stop it at 1 second, man.
Hey,
But
Jules, you can't begrudge Nigel a little snack, man. Come on.
man, listen, man.
Talk
No,
on
your
it.
ass is all about them motherfucking snacks, country. But yeah, man, but yeah, man, like he just a scumbag. And like I said, it's not being a scumbag, believe it or not. It's not like you had to be with Matchroom for the rest of your career. No, you don't have to do that. But be a man. You at least tell him the way you did it. You did all that behind his back. You were doing that for weeks behind his back. This dude, Eddie Hearn said, yo, 3 weeks ago, I had lunch with him. I sat down and I started talking to him about fighting for a title or whatever. And I'm thinking, like, damn, so you looking at Eddie straight in the face during lunch and he don't know what you about to do. Yeah, you a coward, bro. It's not being a scumbag. I can respect a scumbag, believe it or not. You're a coward. You're a coward.
Yeah,
If
Connor,
if okay.
his dad's
going to bat for him, saying, "Yeah, well, he got snakes around him too, and people that's plotting and scheming and don't like him too." And like like he's saying, like Eddie and whoever's around him, a lot of them that don't like him and got plans to snake him or whatever. That's what his dad is saying. So I'm like, I don't know, man.
Now
It's
his dad
crazy.
going, I ain't even going to fault his dad for looking out for his son because what the fuck is like, well, he got to do that, but it's bull. What Nigel is saying is bullshit. Like, listen, you
Yeah,
just looking out for your son, and I respect it, but real is real. It's not about accepting the money. It's not. It really isn't. Like, no, a better deal is a better deal. I get that. It's that you stabbed him in the back. That's where it's fucked up. You stabbed
yeah.
him in the back. And that's why, yo, Herb, I'm all for these fighters getting treated like shit. Yes, treat them like shit.
Prostitutes treat him like a
Like the
prostitute.
proxies, bro. Stop being nice to these fighters. You don't see. I'm tired of seeing boxing fans act like the fighters is like victims of the Holocaust or something. Like, yo, the
Yeah,
fighters are scumbags. It's not just the managers. It's not just the promoters. The fighters are scumbags. So stop it. You got to treat them like what they are. Entry level employees. You
yeah.
should not have a say so. Why? You're not the one paying for anything. Well, I'm paying in blood. We can use somebody else's. We can. You're not special because you want to fight. It's a lot of guys that want to fight. So, you know what I mean?
Mm.
I'm about to smoke a cigarette. I'll be right back.
Lumber clock.
Yeah, and these foreigners are. I mean, these foreigners give us better fights than these Americans. If we're being honest.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, for me as a Brit, who's like, because I'm 47 and I've been watching boxing probably longer than some of the people on the panel have been alive. Probably not as you, no, you know what I mean? So,
Hey man, speak for yourself. I'm almost 60.
oh,
Yeah, I'm
really?
right there too.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. But you understand the context, what I'm saying? It's like, I want for the world of boxing is a better place for the healthier US boxing scene. I grew up watching fighters like De La Hoya, Tyson, fucking Roy Jones. You know what I mean? We need health. We need a healthy boxer. We need people who want to take people's heads off. I don't want to see a jab fest and cute footwork. We need more Haglers.
Mhm.
We need more Iron Barklers. You know what I'm saying? I
Fact.
want, yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
people
we all
want to
got our
see.
way. We like our fights
You know what I
served
mean?
up to us,
So,
cooked and served up. We
and
don't want the
and I think
undercooked
it's
bullshit, man.
indicative of the
For
state of
real. Like, it's just a
the
waste
US
of
boxing
time.
scene that
Watching this shit.
Pacquiao and Mayweather and all these old retired fighters are getting somewhat of a buzz or lack thereof. And then you look at the
Yeah,
younger fighters and I'm like, what are you doing to
yeah.
help elevate the US boxing scene? You're
I hate
boring
the
the
fact that
fans.
these.
That's what you're
I
doing.
hate the fact that these
That's what
fighters go
opened the
broke
door for these old guys
and
to
they
come back in.
expect for us to help them
That's my
out. Like,
opinion
nah,
anyway.
bro.
Yo, you know what's crazy too? Because this is nothing new under the sun. Fighters been going broke and having to come back.
Yeah,
Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis. A lot of fighters went, but to make damn near $1 billion and have to come back, that's a little absurd. That's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, nah, fuck that. I'm tired of them. Like, okay, it's your money, bro. You go broke. Why do it should be somebody else, like a up and comer that needs to be fighting on Netflix instead of fucking two grandpas and Floyd and Manny. Like, nah,
Right.
man.
Oh my god.
Blood clot. Yeah, it's getting crazy. This is getting crazy.
It's sad whenever, let's say, for instance, Manny, bro, you're a grandpa. And you have your own son fighting on the undercard. Yo, retire, you old fuck. What the fuck?
They both
Well,
broke.
shit. I mean, well, look at Floyd. He gonna have his nephew training him. Then he got his grandson sitting at ring. Then he got his grandson sitting at ringside. It's like a fucking like a breakdown to the family. Like this is just nasty, man. For American, and this is the biggest thing we can do in America. Put these two old guys in the fucking ring. What's going on?
Bro, the biggest thing we did in America was bring fucking 60-year-old Tyson, bro, fighting Jake Paul. Like, that's sad.
Right? Wow,
This fight feels like a charity
it's
fight. Like,
crazy,
oh,
man.
come
Hey,
see
but
Manny versus Mayweather
what
fight
can we
for
do,
the
man?
children or some shit like that.
What can we do?
Yeah, it's sad, bro. Fucking sad.
Hey man, I ain't smoke no weed yet. I want to smoke, but I know if I smoke, it's gonna slow me down from my chores in the house, man. So I'm like, damn,
And
shit.
I smoked I smoked weed 2 weekends ago. It felt great, but I don't want to fall back into that shit, bro.
Listen, I be smoking on some shit that'll drop a rhino. So I smoked two of I smoked two of them shits.
Damn.
I'm back
Yeah.
down. I woke up and I ain't do no laundry. I ain't do shit today. Like, god damn, kind of dangerous playing with my shit.
Bro, I went 13 months without smoking. I took that first puff. Well, it was like a third puff.
I can
Oh my, I
imagine.
was flying, bro.
Woo.
I was out of here. I was next to Elon Musk and shit and
Yeah, that's a
SpaceX.
good thing. Just don't go chasing that again. Just let it go. Come back
Yeah, and
next
I
nine.
ain't.
Come back in the next 90 days. Do it again. You get the same kind of effect. Space
That,
it
that's
out.
what
Do it
my
up.
that's what my boys they're straight up potheads and they're like, man, I wish I would stop just to get that first time hit one more time.
Yeah.
But
Stop,
they can't stop.
yeah, stop for 90 days and come back. You'll be right back in there.
Ah, yeah.
Shit, man. We said, all right, we got Nunez and them guys this weekend. We got anything besides that?
The what?
Besides Nunez and Navarrete.
Nah, I think that's all. Well, do we have anything this week? This
Yeah,
weekend?
Navarrete and Nunez. I was saying, we got
Mm,
anything besides that?
nah, I don't think so. I think that should.
Oh,
Nah. See, I'm not mad at Zufa, bro. I'm really not mad at Zufa, especially if it's to reset the market. I'm good with it.
No, I'm good with it, homie. I'm getting
yeah,
extra
man. But I
boxing
don't.
via
Yeah, I
Zuffa.
don't know. It's something strange going on, man. That we can do is wait to see how it pans out.
Yeah.
We get
Um.
we
I
getting that we
You see,
getting
you
extra
can imagine
boxing.
seeing Connor in the ring with the
Yeah, he can't hear
polyester
me.
Zuffa shorts on out there fighting a
Hey
mid tier
Herb.
fighter we don't know
Hey
about.
Herb.
Yeah, yeah,
Herb.
He can't hear
yeah.
me.
Hey, drop off and jump back on, bro, because you can't hear Jules.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
You're gonna see
I
you're
think
gonna see
like
Connor out
I,
there with the Zuffa poncho, the Zuffa smock. Gonna have the Zuffa
with
joint
the uniform trunks.
with the big Z on his chest, big old Z,
Yeah.
Zuffa, big old Z on his across his chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at none of that. That's good because tell me I'm wrong that boxing was getting boring like 3 months ago. Boxing was getting boring. It was getting boring. It wasn't nothing going on. This Zuffa shit, yeah, I love it, yo. The rising tide lifts all boats. All right, that's what we said. That's what we used to say in my village. In my
I'm I'm
village in
I'm with the
Russia.
whole Bob Barum shit. Like, bro, if it was up to Bob, he would pay Shakur probably 200,000 per fight. Born
Honestly, yeah.
motherfucker, bro.
I think we need to go back to treating fighters like shit. We need to be meaner. They need to get paid less. We need to be abusive online and say mean spirited shit. Yeah, because
Especially Devin.
the fighters is it's like especially Devin. The fighters like it's cool to value the fighters. It's cool to say yeah, the fighters, but they're not the most important part of boxing. No, they're not because they're the most replaceable part of boxing. Literally, you think it's a shortage of Mexicans that want to get into a fight, or a shortage of
Shit.
Argentines that want to get into a fight? Like, bro, it's an ocean. It's a Pacific Ocean of motherfuckers. You could spit in the wind and hit a fighter, but you can't hit a promoter. You can't
Right.
hit a platform, a network. Those are much harder to replace. What really makes the machine move is the promoters and the platforms, not the fighters.
Hmm.
Oh, because
But
because because fighter A thinks he's worth 3 million. Well, all right, then go generate it if you're worth it. If you're worth it, go generate it. And you're not going to. Shakur has been overpaid for a long time. Devin even longer and even more overpaid. Like, bro, you don't sell like that. That's
And
crazy.
and Jules, you brought
And
up a good point. I remember you said it one live, like Devin Haney, you're your own promoter, right? Put up the money.
You worth it, right? You DHP, baby. You got a promoter license. Go get
and
that
and I hate
money.
the and I hate the fact that now Bill's going around saying what they're gonna do. Oh, we're gonna jump up to 54 for Zayas. Look,
Okay.
all right, bro.
Okay,
All
bro.
right, bro.
by
Whenever
the
they
way,
try to whenever they try to attach their name to a fighter, I get irritated because I know you just looking for an angle to stay in the news. I don't even know that you really want to fight Xander. Your track record, I respect it because hey, you do fight people. You said you wanted Loma and eventually you fought him. I respect that. I do respect that because that's more than we could say for a lot of people. But the way you fight, I'm never gonna be a fan of that. Like, what you gonna do though? You gonna shoot a jab? You gonna jab and you gonna move and you gonna hold them?
You're gonna
And I'm
clinch.
and I'm gonna go ooh,
Nice.
like nah, homie, no.
Nice footwork.
By the way, rest in peace, Robert Carradine. He unfortunately committed suicide. We lost him.
Yeah, that's
And-
crazy. Him and his brother, bro. Him and his
Who's
brother.
that?
David
that?
Carradine.
Oh man.
Robert
Oh,
Carradine,
Robert
Revenge of the
is
Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. That was Skolnick.
Yeah.
That was
Yep,
Skolnick.
Louis
That was the
Skolnick.
leader.
Yep. And by the way, there's 3 cards on this upcoming Saturday. You got the Navarrete one on the Zone. You've got another card on Triller, and then there's a British card on at about 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, but I don't know what it's on.
And it's a Pro Box card on Friday, I think.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Pro Box card on. I might go live for that one. I might. Just because
Oh,
I
I
know.
think it's here in Arlington. It's Telez, no? Or
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
it's here.
And Pro
It's here in
Box cards are
Arlington, bro.
usually good. Pro Box cards
Yeah.
are usually good. So I might go
It's-
live
I
for
love
that.
Pro Box, man.
I feel like I was gonna go watch the Pro Box fights. It's only about a 30-minute, 40-minute drive from Dallas to Arlington, where the Cowboys
Mm.
play.
You should
But
go.
I think, yeah, but tickets are like 170, bro. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Nah,
I'm
not
chill.
for Pro Box.
You know what?
Not
Yeah.
for Pro
Get the
Box.
cheap seat. Get the cheap
See, there
seats,
goes-
man.
There goes
Nah,
Country
nah.
being a sponsor, bro.
You
Being a
see that
promoter
shit?
for Pro.
He's gonna offer you a plan. He's about to offer you a
I
plan.
bet-
He's gonna pull out a folder.
You motherfuckers like Pro Box as much as I do, so I don't want to hear shit. Okay.
Nah, son. He gonna offer you a Pro Box members card, bro. You swipe it and you get in and the API.
Number
If-
two,
if
I
I-
bet you can get a cheap seat for like probably $50 to $60 way up in the nosebleeds, man. Serious.
If I go and I get 2 tickets and in the promo code I put Country, I'll get a 50% discount, bro.
50% discount, bro. If you get the Pro Box members card and it gives you 5% off at the pump, bro. 5% off.
Hell yeah, hey, I got value, motherfucker. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker got a Pro Box group on, bro. He got the Pro Box group on, bro. But listen, I'm old and I need a nap, so I'm about to take an old man nap. I see y'all motherfuckers on the late night boxing talks. I'm out of here.
All right,
Doug is slow.
brothers.
Take care,
Go
y'all.
Pro Box.
All right, one down.